Warrior Mindset Podcast. We are your guide as you make your way through life, getting better 1% every day. We believe that life is lived and true victory won through adversity. Nothing easy is ever worth it. We believe in the warrior ethos and support those that choose to walk that path.
Hey there, welcome to the Warrior Mindset Show. Man, I appreciate you being here. I know that there's like a million things that you could pay attention to on the internet, and the fact that you choose to come here means a lot. Thank you. If you are listening to this show regularly and you get something out of it, tell someone, share it. If you're on YouTube, like the episode, maybe subscribe. It really helps. We're starting to grow a good bit on YouTube, so I'd really appreciate it. Let's get into it. I want to talk to you today about this subject of dedication. I have been lucky enough over my years of working in the internet, web design, web development industry, running my own business. This September will actually be 20 years. I'll be self-employed running my own business, which kind of blows my mind. But seen a lot of things, talked to a lot of people. And I also own and run a gym, and I teach martial arts. I'm a 3rd degree black belt and work diligently every day to help people along their path. And, it's one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. But often this concept of dedication comes up, and, whether it's in business, in your martial arts training, in your fitness, in your family life, whatever it is, there's this concept of dedication to whatever that thing is, that should always be there, sort of right behind your brain, and it's something that I think about a lot, because I get asked about it a lot, and I coach people about it a lot. So I want to look at that, determining your level of dedication. You are what you repeatedly do. I'm writing this article here for some of my subscribers in Medium, and I thought it would make a good thing to go through for the purposes of this episode. Let's get into it. We are constantly seeking ways to improve ourselves, or our work and our relationships. We strive to be better, to do better, and to achieve more. But what does it look like to be successful? What does it look like to succeed in those things? The answer is dedication. That's where it's found. It's the key to that life you want, to achieving your goals. It doesn't matter if they're personal, professional. Dedication, as far as I see it, is your ability to commit to something wholeheartedly, to work towards the goals that you set, to persevere through the low times, the times when, the shit hits the fan, and to keep going. But how do you determine that level? How do you determine your level of dedication? How do you improve it? How do you work on it? So let's try to understand dedication. It's more than just hard work. Okay, it's more than just working as hard as you can on something for a burst of time. You come into the gym and you hit a workout really hard on Monday and you feel good, but then you take Tuesday off, and then you're sore on Wednesday, so you miss Wednesday. And then, hey, I actually have something going on Thursday. And then, hell, it's Friday, so I'm just going to chill. And then next thing you know, it's Monday again. Okay. That is not dedication. Okay. That is, enjoying something for a fleeting moment. And you can enjoy working hard, but still not really reap the benefits of that hard work, because it's not applied over a long stretch of time. Okay. It's a mindset. It's a way of life. right? It's the conscious decision to commit to something and to see it through to the end, whether positive or negative, no matter what obstacles get in your way, right? Things like, Instagram words like sacrifice, discipline, work ethic. Those terms get thrown around a lot, but those are the spinal cord that makes up dedication. Okay, it's the backbone. We find that those people that are dedicated to their work, their project, their relationships, goals, they kind of share certain characteristics. Okay, they're persistent, they're focused, they're driven, they're willing to put in the time and effort to get to where they want to go. But most importantly, they're willing to sacrifice something or to make changes in something in order to achieve whatever that thing is that they're dedicated to or they say they're dedicated to. I see this a lot in business where uh and you may not understand where I'm coming from, but hopefully I can get there. I see this a lot in business or, startup culture, whatever, web apps. That's a term we throw around. Every every new business idea is an app, right? Um, and oftentimes these people forget that it's not just an app; it's actually a business. It's a thing they have to dedicate to everything to in order to succeed. You can't just magically have something put in place one day that just makes you money forever. Like it takes work to stand that thing up. It takes nurturing and growing. It's like a garden. Anyway, I see that a lot where someone will have a great idea. They'll put something together, team, money, or whatever, and they'll start along this path. And then they have to make choices. They have to choose, that this car, like a car. Maybe they can't get the car that they want. They have to downgrade their lifestyle. Maybe they have to choose to spend less time with their family, right? You have to make those sacrifices. All those things are excuses to why you can't dedicate yourself and achieve what you said. It's not a negative thing to spend time with your family. That's not what I mean. And when I say that kind of stuff to people, they often get it wrong or they'll kind of attack me or whatever. And that's a thing that I recognize and I know that they're in a place where they're not ready to dedicate. They're not in a place to uh, put the pedal to the metal and really want to succeed in whatever that thing is. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying at that moment in time, it's not the right thing for you. You have to recognize that. So that's sort of a gut check on, are you dedicated to this thing? It's a lot easier in people. It's a lot easier to dedicate yourself to a person, right? I'm not necessarily talking about that. I'm talking about a business venture, a fitness goal, a black belt in whatever martial art you want to achieve it in. There's a great quote by Aristotle, and I put it in the article here. You are what you repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Okay? Determination is made up of all the little things that you do along the path to make that habit that gets you to where you want to go, right? And what I love about it is you can't cheat it. You can't cheat the grind. You can't hide from it. You can't fake it. You have to do those things. It shows. And those that have done it before can see it. And that's beautiful. So how do you know how do you know, right? You want to use the word dedication. I'm dedicated to this thing. How do you know? You know because you make sacrifices. Okay. Dedicated individuals are willing to make sacrifices in order to achieve their goals. This means sacrificing time with friends, maybe time with family, maybe giving up a hobby like, the new Baldur's Gate that's coming out. You can't be playing that thing 5 or 6 hours a day and still want to get to where you are. Some of your leisure activities, right? It might mean taking a lower paying job in order to build experience in something new. Okay, when I got in, and this sounds preachy, when I wanted to coach CrossFit, I went to a person I knew, it's a CrossFit gym, and I got up every morning at 4 a.m., got ready, went to their 5 a.m. class, and I shadowed him for 3 or 4 months. And then I talked him into letting me coach. Wasn't that hard, because he didn't want to work as hard, so he was willing to let me do it. I think you'll find that in most cases. I started coaching, and eventually I took over that class. Now, it was a year or two before I even was paid anything, okay? Um, but I got to be I think I'm a pretty darn good CrossFit style coach because of that, because of the experience in the trenches. I wanted to do that. I always wanted to own a gym, but I knew that I wasn't ready to just walk in and own a gym. I knew that I needed to put in the work, the learning, right? And I knew that a weekend course, a CrossFit level 1 certification is like 2 days. You take a test and you pass, and there you are. I knew that it would take more than that because I really wanted to be good at it. Um, not saying that I'm necessarily good, but I think I'm pretty decent, and it's from that hard work. That's kind of everywhere. That's not just in coaching. It's kind of everywhere. Okay. You're willing to make those sacrifices. You are persistent. Dedicated individuals aren't deterred by setbacks or obstacles, right? They're persistent in their pursuit, and they'll continue to work towards that even when things are hard. You have to stay persistent. You have to do the thing all the time, over and over and over. Okay. It's repetition. You are focused. You have a clear sense of why you're doing it and direction into what you're doing. Okay. You want to achieve this thing, so you do it. You focus on it. Okay. When you're making these sacrifices, why would you not stay focused on it? You're committed. Okay. Because you're doing all those other things, you're committed. Okay. You're going to work through challenges. You're going to put up with uh, things that aren't going your way, and you're going to sort of figure out how to work around it. You're going to stay committed. You're going to see it through. Okay. If you have those 3 characteristics, you're probably a highly dedicated person, or you have the willingness, the capacity to be highly dedicated. Okay. How do I, let's say, yeah, I've got those 3 things. So how do I work on that? How do I improve my levels of dedication? Okay. Here's some things you can think about. Set clear goals. Okay. You have to understand what the end game is for you. Okay. You have to have that goal in mind. My goal, I talk about the gym thing. I'm sure there's other, business things that I could probably dredge up, but the gym's kind of on my mind. I knew that I always wanted to own a gym. I knew I wanted to be that. I wanted it on my own, and I knew that I had to get there. I knew that I couldn't just buy a bunch of stuff, rent a building, and then have a gym. I mean, I could, but it'd be empty. Um, I wanted to run that business. I wanted to do that thing. I loved it. I still do. So I had a clear goal of where I wanted to get to. So I knew what to pay attention to as I went along and learned. And the learning process enabled me to sort of pick apart what was useful, absorb what is useful, discard what is not. It's Bruce Lee. Um, Create a plan, you know? I mean, maybe you need to write it down. Maybe you need to write that dream down, write that vision down, and then break it down with those goals or whatever. Make sure you have a little plan. It doesn't have to be complex. I'm not talking about writing a business plan. I mean, I'm not going to poop on business plans, but you can get there. I never wrote a business plan for this gym, and it's doing pretty well. Just because I had a clear vision, I had a clear uh, set of things that I wanted to do. Okay, stay focused. It's easy to get distracted. You can start down one path and see something else. you know we about so here's another gym related thing. I love kickboxing. I wanted to teach kickboxing. And so so I knew, hey, I'm in this is before I owned the gym. Um, so I'm in there working, and I knew that I wanted to do this. So I started a class. And for several weeks, no one came. I was just there during the time and was like talking to people about what it could be and stuff like that. Eventually, one or two people decided to try it. They tried it on a Sunday and they loved it. Um, then I put like a regular time and I would come even when there was one person. Okay. I leave the time open, even if there's one person. Now I have classes with 12, 15 people sometimes. And you have to have that you have to, and that took about 2 years to get that. And I think that you have to stay focused. You have to have that, put that thing in place and stay focused. I've seen people try to start, classes and things, and they'll have times that are sort of not consistent, and sometimes they'll show up, sometimes they won't. And then, I mean, and then eventually someone's going to want to come to that thing. And if you're not there, if it's not happening, well, then they're going to be like, well, I'll go somewhere else or wherever, I won't do it. So, you have to stay focused. And you have to stay positive. Okay. You have to stay motivated towards that thing. You have to make sure you really want to do that thing, or, build that thing or whatever. You have to stay positive. You have to surround yourself with this positive vibes or whatever. I'm at a place where I don't really like negativity. If I'm picking up that somebody's got negative vibes about them, or they're kind of complainy or whatever all the time, I don't want to. I really don't want to interact with them, because I can begin to feed off of that, and I know that I can. I think most of us can. So I try to navigate my way around that sort of thing. Okay. Self discipline. And this is the hardest one. And I always say practice self discipline, not have self discipline, because I don't know that, you know, even David Goggins himself, I don't know how self disciplined he actually is in the end. I think he's practicing it. I think he has bad days. I mean, I don't know him, but I think he has days where he's not. I think he has lazy days. But it is the key in learning to self-govern yourself. Self-govern yourself. That's funny. In order to self-govern, you really have to practice it. You have to think about it and keep it top of mind. It takes discipline to come in to that class where you don't know if there's going to be anyone there or not. It takes discipline to make those sacrifices, which might be, let's say it's a 5 a.m. class, it might be staying in bed until 7. It might be the discipline of the sacrifice of getting up and being there, even if no one's going to come, because you know that you need to have the discipline, to have the belief that if you continue to stick to your plan, eventually someone's going to come in there. Okay. There's a lot there you can pick apart, but that's generally. There's also, let's sort of get off of the gym, the kickboxing, whatever class thing. Let's talk about creativity. Let's talk about podcasts. I have a lot of people that come to me and ask me about podcasts. Now, I've been podcasting since I don't even remember 2007, somewhere in there. It's been a while. We used to have another website that I produced with some friends, and we did conferences and stuff. And from that, we did a series of podcasts. We actually ran a podcast network. We had 5 or 6, and then we did a video podcast. Some were successful, some weren't really successful, but what I learned was that you had to produce content in order for people to find and consume content. It's really that simple. If you are doing a podcast and you put out episodes once in a while, once every few months or whatever, I can't tell you how many times I go to Apple Podcasts and look at it, and the last episodes from like 2014, or like 2020 or something. And there hasn't been one in months and months, even years. You have to be consistent. So there's a concept called no zero days. All right. And if we put it in the context of creativity, it's the concept that every day, I mean, if you're a creator, every day you are creating something. It doesn't have to be good. It can be total crap, but you are dedicated to the process of creating something every day. That's how you maintain consistency. That's how you build a large catalog of whatever it is that you're putting out into the world. Stephen King talks about, you know, that his creative process is hard work, that he actually hates it. He forces himself to get up every day and write. Like whether it's in his house or whatever, he gets up, gets dressed, goes into his office and works. That's a man that doesn't have to, but he doesn't sit around and wait for, inspiration to hit. He goes in and works, and inspiration is found in the work. I think that's how 98%, 99% of creativity happens. I think that's how 99% of success works. There's always an outlier, but I think that's how it works. So, yeah, dedication, it's essential to achieving goals and fulfilling projects and completion, right? It's important. You have to be dedicated to it. It's just a secret ingredient. And remember, guys, you are what you repeatedly do. Okay? So success is a habit. So with that, I think that's enough preaching for one day. I hope you got something out of this. If you do, share it, pass it along. Be great. Maybe there's somebody you know that's getting started on a life journey of some kind, or starting a new business, or whatever it is. Send it to them. If you find it on YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I always appreciate you guys listening to the show here and giving me your time. I really appreciate it. You guys are some of the best. I get some really good questions in, and I'm going to do a question and answer one here again soon, because we're building up kind of a list of questions that have been sent in. So thank you. And until next time, get after it.